During the debate titled In Defense of Europe, the presidents of Poland, Lithuania, and Northern Macedonia described the nature of Russia's policy as expansionist. Russia is probably thinking more about how to get out of all of this with a saved face. Well, Russia must not be allowed to come out of this with a saved face. Russia must not be allowed to come out of this war with a saved face, that is, to come out with a sense of having gained something, some success. No. In order for it to be safe for the world, not only for our part of Europe, for the world, Russia must fail in this war.
It seems to me that the so-called soft spots in the whole pan-European security architecture right now, apart from Ukraine, of course, and that danger coming from Kremlin, in this direction is Western Balkans.
Lithuanian President Gitanas Nausėda said he fears that Vladimir Putin, desperate by military setbacks, ignoring Russian citizens' needs, will sacrifice all of Russia's economic potential on the altar of war.
Germans decided that instead of providing humanitarian aid, they decided to deliver weapons. It was first very important qualitative moment in the decision-making of Germany. And now we are in the situation where there is more commitment needed.
Meanwhile, support for Ukraine is assured by the European Union. Brussels will provide 18 billion euros for Kiev's needs this year. Today, the first tranche of 3 billion euros was dispersed from its budget. We have put in place the strongest sanctions ever, which leave the Russian economy facing a decade of regression and its industry starved of any modern and critical technologies. There will be no impunity for these Russian crimes. And my friends, there will be no let-up in our steadfast support. Ukraine's First Lady Olena Zelenska delivered a letter from President Volodymyr Zelensky to Chinese President Xi Jinping. The document is an attempt by Kiev to gain China's support. How does the world expect to reach climate neutrality if it can't even stop the burning down of whole Ukrainian cities? This is what Russia does with its artillery, missiles, Iranian drones. You all know that Russian aggression was never intended to stop at Ukrainian borders. This war can move forward and ignite wider crisis if Ukraine loses. At this year's World Economic Forum in Davos, visitors can see an exhibition on the war in Ukraine titled Home of Russian Crimes. The images by Ukrainian photographers are meant to show what is currently happening in Ukraine. Presenting this evidence of Russian crimes here is so important. I hope that all the participants of the Davos Forum will come here, that everyone will visit this place, even if they are sensitive, or maybe especially if they are sensitive. They should come here, see, in order to know why the Russian criminals are being prosecuted. Meanwhile, in Ukraine, law enforcement forces are clearing city streets from rubble. The recent missile attack on the Dnieper River was the most brutal shelling of all the past 3 months. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has declared it a war crime and said his country will use all available options to prosecute those responsible. What happened in Dnipro, the fact that Russia is preparing a new attempt to seize the initiative in the war, the fact that the nature of hostilities at the front requires new decisions in the defense supply, all this only emphasizes how important it is to coordinate our efforts, the efforts of all members of the coalition to defend Ukraine and freedom, and to speed up decision-making. Dozens of people remain trapped under rubble in the wake of Saturday's attack. Russia notoriously denies deliberate attacks on civilians. Rescue operations have been completed at the site of the tragedy in Dnipro, where a Russian missile struck. 44 victims have been counted there. This is one of the larger terrorist attacks on the local population over the course of this war. A spokeswoman for the Ukrainian Army's Operational Command South, Natalia Humenyuk, reports that there are currently 6 Russian ships in the Black Sea that may have 44 caliber type cruise missiles at their disposal. The fleet also potentially has ballistic missiles at its disposal. One such missile hit a building in Donetsk.